people know how to, I mean,
Maybe.
the
Probably be a good
joke in
idea.
my school was that if you didn't know how to play the guitar when you got there, you had to learn while you were there, which is not true, but it was sort of, there were a lot of rabbi guitarists, rabbinical reconstructionist rabbis and stuff. But now so many people are doing all the computer things that, you know.
So we are on Facebook as well. So we welcome everyone to our Havdalah with a bonus, which we are doing once a month now. And tonight is the night for, we've been thinking of it in terms of August, but I think this is the only one in Av this year as well. So we'll turn things over to Rabbi Rachel for sharing a story.
Well, I thought after kind of the week that it would be good to have a really funny story. So if you're dealing with something that's Jewish and funny stories, you know that there's a particular town in Europe that you have to travel to. That is the town of Chelm. And if you're not familiar with Chelm, you will soon see why. Now, to first introduce it for those who are unfamiliar with it, you have to understand how Chelm came into being. You see, when God was populating the world, sent out two angels. Each of them had a sack of souls. Now, one angel's sack was filled with handsome, intelligent souls, and the other sack was filled with foolish souls. So God told the angels that they should travel and try to distribute those souls equally across the world, because that would help the intelligent be able to help the foolish ones, and it would work out really well. Well, one day the angel carrying the foolish souls flew a little too low, or maybe the mountain peak was a little too high. Whatever, the top of the mountain peak caught on the bag and ripped it, and all those foolish souls fell into that one particular valley. And when the souls were born into human beings, they really liked it there. So they stayed in that valley and they called it Chelm, and they're known as Chelmites. Now, one day, a great debate started in Chelm. The Chelmites were reading the Talmudic story about how God had originally created two great lights in the sky, the sun and the moon. Now, nowadays, we think of them as two different sizes, but back then, in the beginning, they were both lights of equal size and equal brightness. Each one could throw off fireballs, just like we think of just the sun, but the moon was as bright. But the moon was not happy. The moon didn't like being equal and grumbled and complained to God that it needed more space in the heavens. The moon proposed that the sun be made a bit smaller so that the moon could have more room. The fireballs from the sun keep hitting me, said the moon. Look at my pits and craters. But when God asked the sun if he was happy with the way things were, the sun said it was fine. The sun was more than happy to share equally. So to settle the debate, God made the moon smaller and put it on the other side of the world so it could have its roomy nighttime sky by itself. Reminder that we should be very careful about when we complain and what we complain about. Now, after reading this, the Chelmites started to have a debate about which was more important, the sun or the moon. Which one is more important, said one Chelmite. What a question. That's silly. The sun, of course. Another one heard the remark and jumped in. The sun? The sun? How can you be so foolish? The moon is more important. We need the moon more than the sun. Soon, of course, a whole crowd of Chelmites gathered in the marketplace arguing. There was the sun group, there was the moon group. They stayed there all day, forgetting about going to work, and discussed and debated and argued and agonized, and everyone had an opinion, but no one actually listened to anybody else's opinion, so of course no one gave in. Now, no one was willing to leave until a side had been picked, so they agreed not to go home for dinner. So soon, their poor wives brought dinner to the marketplace so they could continue their debate. They had large pots, and the women brought the men bowls of golden chicken soup. In the middle of each soup was a matzah ball and little yellow egg yolks. The sound of so many Chalmites eating, or rather slurping chicken soup, sounded like an orchestra that was off key. But one voice said, Chalmites, look, the golden chicken loaf looks just like the sun. What? Another said. What are you talking about? They look just like the moon. And there they were off again, arguing about the moon and the sun and the moon. And they were waving their soup spoons, and the soup got cold, and nobody ate anything, and they never finished dinner. So months went by. Fortunately, the debate kind of calmed down a little bit. It was a holiday of Simchat Torah, when you finish reading the Torah and immediately start reading again. So you never are not reading the Torah. You never say that you finish it. You finish one section, that's in the evening, and immediately go to the next one. So the Chalmites gathered in the synagogue to hear it. Oh, they're saying, how beautiful, what a wonderful holiday we have. You end the Torah with the death of Moses and start right away with the creation of the world. It's like a circle around the moon, said one Chalmite. You mean the sun, counted another. That was all it took. One mention in the heavenly lights, and everyone was shouting again, sun, moon, no sun, no moon, on and on and on and on again. Finally, the rabbi said, enough, and called everybody to order so that they could actually read from the Torah scroll. So the Chalmites took to their seats and became quiet, because that's what you do when your rabbi gets mad enough to yell at you, or you should if you know what's good for you. So they were all listening and watching the book. And the rabbis started to read the opening verses. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and he read about each of the 7 days. But when he got to the 4th day, he read, and God created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Well, as soon as the rabbi read that, the debate started up all over again. No one was talking about the stars or any of the things. It was just such a tumult and yelling, moon, sun, moon, sun, moon. Finally, the wise elders of the Hamites said the debate had to end. They realized the only way to settle the debate once and for all would be to take a vote, which was more important, the sun or the moon. So the day after the holiday, the Hamites took a vote. They counted the votes carefully over and over, basically meaning that everyone who was a Chalmite came and counted the votes also. I guess that's one way of making sure that no one can disagree with the things. Finally, they were going to announce the results. The Chalmites overwhelmingly voted that the moon was more important. Why? Because in the daytime when there's light, there's no great need for the sun. But at night when it's dark, you need the moon. And if you understand the logic behind that, then maybe you too are a Chalmite. And that's our story for tonight.
Thank you. Chelm stories are always fun. The wise men of Chelm, a euphemism, I guess, right? So we will prepare to make Havdalah. And I put most of the blessings up there. One more thing, and we'll have everything in the chat for all of the melodies that we do during Havdalah. There, so now it's all there for us. And it's always good. I don't know how many of you are making Havdalah otherwise. You can make it this early. You can make it later tonight. You could even make it tomorrow if you wanted. So you can end Shabbat at any point that you want to. So it can last longer if you want it to. And I have a little bit of a short candle tonight. We'll see how that does, and I'll use a new one next time. So I invite you to light your candles. And we lift up our fruit of the vine. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei peri hagafen. Borei peri hagafen. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. So we've had the sweetness of the fruit of the vine and the sweet smell of the spices. We continue now with the candle and the flame. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Borei me'orei ha'esh. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Bein or lechoshech. Bein yom hashvi'i לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול. We take another moment to both savor these last moments of Shabbat and to think about the distinctions between the sacred and profane, between light and darkness, and between the seventh day and the 6 days of the week. When we're ready, we put our candles out in our wine or juice. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimera v'yamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. I invite you to unmute so we can sing together Shavua Tov, wishing everyone a good week. Shavua Tov,
Shavua Tov, Shavua Tov, Shavua Tov, Shavua Tov,
Shavua Tov,
Shavua Tov, Shavua Tov, a good week, a week of peace,
gladness
gladness
reign,
reign,
joy
joy
increase.
increase.
a
good
good
week,
week,
week
a
of
a
week
week
of
of
peace,
peace,
gladness,
gladness
gladness
reign,
reign,
and
and
joy
joy increase.
increase.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
We thank everyone on Facebook for joining us, and you can join us next Friday night at 7:30 for Shabbat services, and we'll be back the second Saturday of September with Havdalah with a bonus. And thank you, Rabbi Rachel, for your story.
Welcome.